Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. Don't forget to make yourself a cup of coffee or tea with snacks if you want, because today we have very interesting stories, and one of them is a story about a man who became crazy because OP didn't have ketchup. Please subscribe if you haven't and I hope you'll enjoy it. So before I start, I would like to point out that this is my dad's story. He's a firefighter and paramedic in our local FD, and this is before the corona lockdown passed. My dad, who will be now called MD, LT. The fire lieutenant, my dad works with FF1. The other firefighter and the engine driver, FF2. Another FF, FF3. Another FF, EM. It's obvious, EK. A witchy kid, NK. The LY kid that wasn't a brat, SD. Sheriff's deputy. Alrighty, so this happened somewhere about September 2019, and it was a quiet day at the station. There was only one other call that day, a medical call for one of the ambulances. MD was chilling and talking with his crew when the tone goes off. It's a medical call. A 13-year-old female was scootering and fell headfirst into the sidewalk and was bleeding badly. MD's engine was called out along with an ambulance, so to the call he went. His engine was first on scene, so he and his crew immediately helps the girl until medical arrives and takes her away. MD and the LT were cleaning up the blood, while the other FFs were putting away the equipment when. Ahem, excuse me, but can my EK play with the sirens on your fire truck? Now I should add, MD station is always open to the public, but they don't let people play with the sirens. They can turn on the lights, but not the sirens. They don't let them turn on the sirens because A, they are too loud, and B, just out of consideration and the fact that there's no emergency. What? Oh, I'm sorry ma'am, but your kid cannot turn the sirens on. He can turn on the lie. He gets cut off. I don't freaking care. Let Ek play with the sirens. Who is in charge? I demand to talk to them. At this point my dad knew what was about to happen, but he still calls over the LT. Hello ma'am, I'm Lieutenant, censored, with a local FD in. Ugh, finally. My kid wants to turn on the sirens on your fire truck. The other FFs and MD just look at the LT, trying to see what's about to happen next. Ah, well I'm sorry ma'am, but your kid cannot turn on the sirens, but he can come see the equipment and turn on the lights. No. My kid wants to turn on the freaking sirens, so he will. Yeah, I want to turn on the sirens. I should mention he looked about 9 to my dad. See? Now let him, or I'll call the fireman chief. Yay, she called the chief the fireman chief. Oh boy. Ma'am, please just accept this and accept that he can turn on just the lights. FF1, can you explain to her about why she can't do that? Of course LT. Ma'am, we can't do that out of consideration for the public and that it would be unnecessary and loud. EM just huffs and walks away. They think it's the end of that when FF2 cries out in pain. Oh mother screwer, what in the damned hell? Apparently the EM picked up a baseball-sized rock that had some semi-sharp edges and yeeted that rock at FF2. Bad idea. FF3 runs over to FF2 who now is holding his leg, which is now bleeding through his fingers. FF1 runs to the engine and grabs gauze, shouting to BB and the LT if he should call for medical and law enforcement. All the while EM and EK are sitting there on their porch looking smug as hell. It's easy to see they did it. MD looks at them, and oh boy, is he pissed. He starts shouting at EM, what the hell did you do? Oh nothing, just enjoying your punishment. MD gets the LT and tells him about what she did. LT explodes. What the absolute hell lady, do you realize what you just did? You have just committed a felony. I swear to freaking God if you don't get inside you regret it. MD, call for law enforcement. MD does that, all while shocked that the LT just blew up like that. The EM's face goes pale and then looks like she's pissed her pants. She runs inside and audibly craps and locks the door. Police sirens are now obvious, as one Leo unit pulled up a few seconds later. He asked for the whole story, and he was given the story. He went over to the EM's house and got her out and placed in cuffs. Needless to say she was arrested for assaulting a first responder. I believe that the kids were handed over to the dad, who was just plain embarrassed. FF2 is fine, but he definitely has some scratches. It's this kind of stuff that's why we should respect our first responders. How dumb do you have to be to assault a first responder? Should have held the M's head to the siren, then let the EK turn it on. I would not want to piss off the fire department. They could easily come to your house and watch it burn down. So backstory, I'm in the Navy and a few years ago I was stationed on a ship. As part of my duties I would occasionally have to stand as an armed guard at the entrance to the piers, where the ships were docked. One Saturday evening I'm standing guard, and for the first few hours, everything is going fine. A few pizza delivery drivers, a few totally not drunk sailors, yes it's a stereotype, but it's true, typical evening. And then my quiet watch came to a screeching halt. The EM came up to the gate, and I asked to see her ID, and the following conversation ensues. For the sake of security, certain details are being left out. Gives a very loud huff and pulls out her driver's license. My son is on the ship. Alright ma'am, is he coming to get you? No. Why? I can't let you onto the pier without proper identification or an escort. But I showed you my license. Ma'am, in order to come onto the pier by yourself you'll need a military ID or a temporary pass. Since you don't have any of those, then you'll need your son to come down from the ship and escort you on board. While I was talking with the EM, another person came up with her military ID in hand, and I attempted to let her through. Practically yelling. I was here first, you jerk. Ma'am, that is uncalled for. What are you gonna do about it, you freaking World War II German soldier analog, starts with an N. Using every ounce of mental strength to not yell at EM, ma'am, step away from the gate. No, I'm going to see my son, and proceeds to attempt to push past me. I pulled my can of ox spray off my belt, move in front of EM, and now forcefully commanding, ma'am, this is your last warning, step away from the gate, or you will be sprayed. For those of you who don't know what OC spray is, it's oleoresin capsicum, think of it as mace and pepper spray's evil cousin, and it hurts like hell. Like 100,000 hypodermic needles full of burning molten salt being drilled into your eyes, and it doesn't stop for hours. Makes one more step towards the gate, screw you, I spray EM right in the face, toss the can away and tackle her to the ground and handcuff her. All the while she's yelling every obscenity in the book. She would have made a civil war era sailor blush, threatening to sue, I know your boss, I'll get the president to get you fired, which personally, I would have loved to have seen, yada yada. Typical Karen threats with no effect. All while this was going on, the other guard who was with me had called for the watch supervisor, and the girl who I was going to let through had called the base police. A few minutes later 2 squad cars rolled up, one of which was the county sheriff, an ambulance and the watch supervisor. The medic started treating her OC contamination, and when they cut the cuffs off, they were flex cuffs. She punched 2 of them and wiped OC onto the third. The base cop ran over and cuffed her with real cuffs now. I recount the encounter to the sheriff and the watch supervisor. The other guard and the girl do the same, and EM was arrested for trespassing on government property X2, failure to follow the instructions of military police, resisting arrest and assaulting an EMT X3. The best part was her son's ship pulled into port 2 days later. For anybody who may think I used excessive force with the OC spray, I had 5 reasonable options to stop the EM. Verbal commands usually works with about 80% of sane and even slightly drunk or high people. Not gonna work on determined or stupid people. Mock takedowns, hands-on physical maneuvers and joint holds. Unencumbered would have been the best option, but in 25 pounds of gear and having a sidearm on makes these by themselves dangerous. Combined with OC or baton strikes makes these much more effective in gear. Causes near instant reaction in 99% of people, with very rare severe reactions occurring in less than 1 in 50,000. Steel retractable baton, while it would have been effective, the baton was not necessary. Plus well-placed strikes can easily break bone, and in the worst case scenario for a body strike, cause a heart attack. At no point during the encounter was the definition for deadly force authorization met, nor did I feel that my life, anybody else's life or the docked ship's safety, was threatened by EM's actions. Even if EM had pulled a knife, OC would be more than sufficient to disarm just about anybody. The full effects wear off in about 5 hours by themselves, and about an hour or 2 with medical care. Totally reasonable response. My only issue was I wasn't there watching with popcorn. Seeing an EM get sprayed sounds entertaining. Backstory. So I work at a certain, medium, theme park, let's call it Shavland because that's all it attracts in Scottish people. I'm a supervisor covering a good workmate's little hot dog hut near the entrance. ED. Dad, EK. Some chubby boy, me. F. Friend and S. Security. So I was on my break one morning, and Chavland had just hot full summer season, so the park was pretty damn busy. I'm eating my lunch and enjoy my fag like an unhealthy Brit when I get a call through on my radio. Radio goes off. Anon come in. Yes, this is Anon. Who is this? It's me. I've hurt my leg, and the medics have told me to rest up. Staff have living quarters on site for full time. I just need your permission and to find someone to cover me. It's alright, go take a few hours and radio me back when you're feeling better, bud, and don't worry, I have a few hours spare. I'll cover till I need to go do other stuff. Thank you Anon, you're the best. I'll buy you lunch tomorrow. So I put my radio back on my belt and trash my food to go to the hot dog hut. I arrive, unlock all the windows and start serving customers again. I check some stock and realized we were out of ketchup, not usually a problem. I'll call in storage, and when they do their next delivery, it will come no problem, or so I thought. So here comes EK. EK waddles up to me just finishing an ice cream and a 20-pound in his stick hand. I roll my eyes, but hey, he was about 10 kids to be kids, and can be messy. It's Chavland after all, so here the convo goes. I want hot dog, jumbo now. I sighed and turned to go make this kid's food. Hurry up, I'm hungry. Patience Padawan and the food will be delivered. I say in a joking tone. It's a theme park and we are told to make jokes, etc, etc. I'm not a freaking Padawan, just give me my food. I mutter to myself, me. If you don't shut up I'll turn you into a hot dog. So I finally get done microwaving our horrible hot dogs and shove it in a bun. We serve them plain, no cheese, onions or any kind of crap. I hand him the hot dog and he gave me the money but just stood there and stared at me. Where's the ketchup? You forgot it. You didn't ask, but unlucky we have run out, but I have mustard. No, I want ketchup now. Well sorry, no can do kiddo, we won't get some till later and I can't leave, but there's some just down the path to the other hot dog hut. For some reason the kid just started crying. I'm looking shocked as I haven't done anything wrong, and he just runs off. I don't think anything of it till I see a figure come running at the hut. I go to close the window as it might be someone try to grab the till, as that's happened to me before, but no, it's Ed, grabs the window and goes. You made my kid freaking cry, you're gonna freaking pay for this. Which? Me? Hell, what? Ed proceeds to jump through the window and grab my knife. I instantly hit my panic button on the wall and radio as Ed approaches me holding the knife to nearly my neck at this point. Give my son freaking ketchup, you freaking bag. Put down the knife, there's no ketchup left. I'm sorry, I told him. I don't give a hell, I want some ketchup for my kid. I slowly start to back off and say I'll check the back and see if there's any, as long as he stays there. As I go to the back I hear a voice through the door whimpering to me. Anon, are you there? You didn't answer your radio when we called in about the panic button. There's a dude with a knife threatening to stab me over catch. Next thing I know, S and a few other S come barging through the door with their pepper spray and just OCD in it, wrestling him to the floor and getting him in cuffs before the police arrived on the scene. ED was arrested for assault and plotting to murder, which apparently he admitted to the cops that he was going to stab me in the throat even if I managed to find some ketchup. I get the rest of the day and go see and check on F to make sure she was alright, and F says she heard everything over the radio, but all I can do is sit there blandly and just kinda flop into my bed. Knowing even working at Chavland could get me killed over freaking ketchup. Jesus Christ, assault and conspiracy to commit murder. What the hell? And you can't say it's because of the ketchup because it says he was planning on cutting the guy's throat regardless. That's just bonkers. Dude needs to be put away for a long time. A little background, my friends and I used to go to a trampoline park when we were in high school. This park had trampoline basketball, a free jump area, and trampoline dodgeball. Phenomenal way to exercise and have fun, even if your back felt sore a day or two after. Anyway, the dodgeball area was split into two areas, one for kids under 12 and one for kids 12 and over. The 12 and over area had slightly harder, more massive balls, paws, than the other area. The games were also a little more competitive, but not excessively. Headshots, however, are forbidden in both areas. Remember this part. Onto the story. My friends and I, being the only older children at the place during this particular day, were messing around in the dodgeball area, having fun and pelting each other. One of the staff served as the referee. Right before we were going to begin another game, we see an EM walk over with her little boy to the entrance. Let's call him EK. The kid proceeds to say, "Mom, can I play with the big kids, please?" Really emphasize the word please. EM says of course and tries to get her kid to enter the area. The kid is not older than 9, and the staff member, calling him SM from here on out, stops him, pointing to a sign detailing the age restriction. SM points to the younger child dodgeball area, which wasn't even very crowded. The kid takes offense to this and starts complaining, culminating in EM trying to rationalize things. She said, "Come on, we paid to get in here, it's just trampolines. Don't be such a Boy Scout, SM." SM stays firm, with one of my friends speaking up and saying that it's not as good idea to have a little kid in the middle of a bunch of high school baseball players' dodgeball game. EM rudely remarks, "I don't remember asking you," but eventually agrees, but something seemed off about her. I didn't expect her to give up so easy. After all, she had that "I'm going to call corporate and complain" look to her. At any rate, game begins, all is going fine. I'm rearing back to sling one at somebody, full strength, when I see something out of my peripheral vision at the last second, right after release. It's EK, darting into the playing area, taking advantage of SM being distracted with refereeing. As soon as I released the ball, saw its trajectory, and saw the EK's position, I immediately knew how utterly screwed I was. My throw completely cracks this kid on the side of the head, with a sickening slap sound. EK is on the floor crying, and EM is already coming my way. I couldn't keep a straight face because she looked so awkward walking across the trampoline toward me. You just can't look serious while trying to traverse those things. Anyway, she gets all in my face, complete with every swear word under the sun. She then demands my entire group gets kicked out, as we had broken the rules by going for headshots. SM explains why he is not going to oblige, while trying to tend to EKEM will not stop, as she was going on about how I fatally injured the little idiot. My friends and I simply decide to slowly walk away, this battle wasn't worth fighting. EM tries to plead her case to SM, but since he saw the whole thing, she wasn't gonna get anywhere. When all was said and done and EM had finished her rant, the manager came over. I was across the facility at this point, in the free play area, so I could not hear what was said. I saw the manager politely steer EM toward the first aid area along with EFK. After 5 minutes in that room, I saw them both exit through the front door. EM did not look happy. When the manager came back toward his back room, he stopped and talked to me and said he apologized for the scene. I said no worries and that was that. I honestly don't know what people are thinking sometimes. Like, there's a kids play area for a reason, there's no need to have your kid play with bigger kids when he should be enjoying the time, while he's still young, playing with kids his age. Accidents like this happen when you have a kid with a weird chip on his shoulder wanting to prove something, and a mother who thinks everyone should let her kid dictate everything. Some people are weird, I guess. I'm glad the kid ended up seeming okay, though. For some reason I feel that if that throw hadn't got him, something worse would have happened. And the guy you were aiming at should have thanked the kid. That kid went to support on him and literally saved him. Well guys, that's it for today. If you end up enjoying this video please consider subscribing, and if you missed the last episode on the channel I'm gonna link it right here. The story is about a woman who harassed OP and then tried to break the cello. Check this out if you haven't, and I'll see you in my next video.